Hi guys, it's Chloe and welcome back to my channel. But today I'm going to be doing a video about my trip to Colorado and what we did, accessibility, etc. So I'm super excited to get into this video, and on that note, we're going to get started. So last year, my brother Jake and his wife Molly brought up the concept of going to Breckenridge, Colorado, and wanted to invite my mom, myself, and Molly's mom, as well as a couple of other people. So she talked to those other people, and some of them could make it and some of them couldn't. So her maid of honor could make it, but their friends and his wife couldn't make it. Also, my brother Ben couldn't make it as well because of his job, and they decided to book a Vrbo or an Airbnb for 6 people. And we had 2 to pick from, and they ended up booking the first one as a just-in-case measure because they were going to be like getting fully refunded by December if they didn't want the place, but at least we had something. And then one of her bridesmaids and her brother were able to make it. However, there wasn't any room available. So they stayed at a hotel across the street, but they came and hung out with us. My brother and his wife had an itinerary of what was supposed to happen when, and also a menu of what we were going to be eating. And if there was anything we wanted to add to the grocery list, we had to let them know because they were going to do a pickup order. And basically, we had to pay for whatever we needed from the store, as well as just a general, grocery, bill, because we split it a couple different ways since we were all eating the food. It's cute because my brother and his wife tried to convince me to come and said that there was stuff for me to do downtown, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I'm going to look for adaptive skiing. So not sponsored. I found something through the Breckenridge Outdoor Education Center, which if you want to know more about how I found them, as well as finding adaptive skiing near you, feel free to yeet something into the comments and I can definitely do a video on that. So I got that all set up. We each had to pay for our way to get there. So all of us flew, and the bridesmaid and the brother flew in the Friday before us with their dad. And then the dad left on Wednesday, and they family swapped, and we came in and they stayed with us. Well, they didn't they hung out with us, and then they would just go back to their hotel and sleep there because, again, we didn't have room. We ended up going directly. Atlanta has direct flights from there to Denver, which is the nearest airport, and then you have to drive or take a shuttle for roughly 2 hours. And then you get to Breckenridge and stuff. I had 0 issues getting through the Atlanta airport. That was very easy. Then when we landed, though, it took a while to find the baggage claim. We ended up finding it, but there was a lot of construction happening at the airport, which I didn't really particularly care for. And we finally found it, and then we had to get on a shuttle to go to the rental car station, and that shuttle was wheelchair accessible. However, the driver didn't want to constrain in my wheelchair, so instead he just went slow, and I held on death grip to one of the poles because I was afraid of whiplashing forward or backward or whatever if he had to stop suddenly. It wasn't that far of a drive, but still, you just don't know, and you still want to get constrained regardless. Now, originally, we were all going to pay our fair share to take a shuttle from the airport to Breckenridge. However, some people were bringing their own skis and snowboards. I had my wheelchair and my medical equipment, and because of that, there wouldn't have been enough room for us to fit our bodies and our luggage in there. So instead, what we did was we decided to get 2 separate rental cars. So my mom and I were in one, and then everyone else was in another, and we all landed roughly at the same time. And then we went to, my mom and I went straight to the house, but first we stopped for food. And my brother and his wife and everyone else, they went to the grocery store to pick up their order, and then they went to the house. And literally, like, once we got out of there, we like went up this hill out of the Denver airport, and all you could see was white powdered cover mountains. They were so pretty, which I'm gonna yeet a video of that in here, or a photo or something. But it was so pretty, and the drive was so scenic, and it was so gorgeous. I really liked it, and it felt like something straight out of a postcard. We got there, and the minute I went upstairs, I could not breathe. So I was going through altitude sickness, which, if you want to know my symptoms of altitude sickness, feel free to yeet it down in the comments and saying you want a video, and I'll do a video. The place we were at, which no fault to my brother and his wife, it worked for me for the most part. But it's not completely wheelchair accessible. So if you are someone that is in a wheelchair more often than I am, because I only ever used mine in the airport, then this may not be for you. But literally, so the garages were right here, and then you had to like kind of get on the road a little bit, and then there was a pathway you had to take that took you to the townhomes, but there was a little step up and a step down, and the stepped up area was like covered. And then you go into the townhome and you take a step down, and all the bedrooms are on that level. And then you go upstairs, and there was like a half bath, and there was the living room and the kitchen, and then there was a flex bedroom, which was an office with a Murphy bed, which is a bed that folds out from the wall. I stayed up there. That way I wouldn't have to like go up and down the stairs every time I needed to like go get something or whatever, which ended up working out really well for me. And also, Breckenridge has a free shuttle service where they have different shuttles that'll take you to where you need. Most of them were wheelchair accessible. The Silver Line I found not to be wheelchair accessible, but most of them are. They do not offer paratransit, curb-to-curb paratransit. That's the only downside, because I didn't see any curb-to-curb paratransit there. But with their app, so they will tell you what the nearest shuttle stops are, and they'll tell you how to get from point A to point B. So, like, for instance, let's say I wanted to go to the cookie shop downtown. They would tell me what line I could get on and where my nearest shuttle stop is that carried that line. They would pick me up, and they would tell me what stop I needed to get off at. And throughout the whole thing, once I got on the shuttle, both the app and the shuttle itself will announce what shuttle stop is up next. It'll say stuff like, now stopping at Mill Run shuttle station. And that's where I got off to get to the townhomes that we were in. And all the buses, with the exception of the Silver Line, were wheelchair accessible. The Silver Line is not, because it's just basically, it's a van. They're all wheelchair accessible and they will kneel for you if you need it. However, not all the stops are wheelchair accessible and not all of them are covered, especially the further you go outside of downtown. They had the constraints and everything to tie down a wheelchair if you needed it. But I was thoroughly impressed with the app, and I was thoroughly impressed with just everything. So from the shuttle service to the apps, etc. And they were all very accommodating, even though I didn't bring my wheelchair. So I don't know what that would have been like if I used the wheelchair on there, but everyone was very accommodating. So when we left and got to the Denver airport, my mom dropped me off curbside at the airport with our luggage. In the meantime, she took the rental car back, and then she took the shuttle, the rental car shuttle, all the way to the airport. Then we went together and we went to go through TSA and all that. And to say I had a horrible experience at the airport is an understatement. And if you want to know more about that, feel free to yeet that into the comments and I can do a separate video on that. But I am going to bring it up with the airport. And that's it. I thank you guys so much for watching this video and can't wait to see you guys again soon. Bye.